Hachikuchas, this is just the beginning of these conversations. So the idea is this sort of plants a seed to talk about things that interest you at a later date. Or later tonight. So next up we have Mao.
Hi guys. Before I start, just let me warn you, I'm not as eloquent or emotive as Marie or Mark, so bear with me, I'll use this. I rely a lot of memes, so if you see a meme, please laugh. That will make me feel less nervous. So, I'm a second year, MVP, almost done. We'll talk about patterns, rewards, and the chills. And I don't know, let me ask you first, have you ever experienced the chills when you listen to music? Yes! The presentation is not starting. I'm Mauricio. Yeah. So, have you ever experienced the chills? This feeling when you listen to really good music or when you're at a concert. I mean, I have experienced it a lot, and I'm sure most of you have. But I don't know, have you ever wondered where does this come from? Like, what kind of sorcery is this? So, let's start talking about what is music, right? So if we strip down music from lyrics, and lyrics is what we actually end up singing, we see that music is composed of, or can be described with many elements, like pitch, tone. This is going faster than I expected. So there are various definitions of music, but none of them tell us why music makes us feel. Why is music so powerful when it goes deep and it touches feelings and stuff that can't be explained easily. So let's throw some hypotheses. Right? Maybe music is a representation of our personality. Some even think it's a representation of God. Some religions link music with God, right? So I don't know if anyone has any theory. I don't know. Maybe the answer is aliens. Yeah, aliens. So, besides this hypothesis, let me show you one that I find very convincing and very interesting, and it's evidence-based. Yeah, I said evidence-based. And it has a good message beneath all the data and all the brain scans and charts. So let's see what this is about. So there is something called the potent pleasurable stimulus. And some folks in Montreal did some experiments trying to understand how our brain works when we listen to music. And there are two concepts that I ask you to remember through the rest of the presentation: rewards and patterns. So rewards essentially come from a thing called dopamine, which is a chemical that we produce naturally, and it's associated with pleasure. It feels good. So we experience pleasure when we generate dopamine, and dopamine generally comes when we are enjoying a donut or a coffee or whatever. The next concept is patterns. We are obsessed with patterns. We try to find patterns everywhere, and we are obsessive about patterns, and we can even become anxious when we don't find them. Look at this. So, going back to these researchers, they scanned our brains of some dudes that they said they experienced the chills and whatever. And they found interesting stuff. And, the first thing they found is that we like what we like about music is when the patterns change. So when the chorus comes and the pattern changes, we like that, right? We don't like monotony, we like change. And we also, but there is something more interesting about that. If you see it at this chart, yeah, sorry for the chart. The dark blue line is representing our emotional response. So when the pattern comes, the pattern change comes, we like that. We experience joy, we experience sadness, whatever. But there was another line showing our dopamine response. So before the change comes, our brain is experiencing more pleasure. So the pleasure comes from anticipating change, not from the change itself. So why is this relevant? Well, let's see. We know we like patterns, we anticipate these patterns, and we experience pleasure. And our lives can be seen in that way too. We are always struggling, trying to transition from one state to another. We're seeking for change, right? And we're trying to do everything we can to get to that next stage, to that next state. But we often feel that, like, we're never getting there, right? So, even though I'm getting too serious here, I think this is important because we all struggle every day, like in our lives, and we feel like we're never getting there. But remember, pleasure might not come from the change itself, right? It comes from some other place. And maybe that place is... let me think. So maybe the reward comes from that process of struggling, right? Anticipating that transition and that change. So I hope you remember this. I just wanted to run away.
Okay, is there one song that you can say that gives you chills? That you remember?
Yeah, there's John Mayer. I'm a big fan. This song called Neon, which is really good. I recommend it. He's coming to Chicago, April 11th.
We're all going.
Any more questions? Yeah.
So you said that happiness comes from anticipating the change and not the change itself. But if the change doesn't come, then we're unhappy. So, like what you said.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think like when that change doesn't come, we have to adjust, right? Just set another goal and strive again, and that's how it works, I think. I don't know.
Did you research the study for the presentation, or did you research this beforehand for some other reason?
I read it a long time ago, but while I was doing my presentation, I went back to it.
That study you showed us, is it empirically robust?
Yeah, he values 99%.
What happened previously in your presentation, and at what moment did you feel happy and anticipated?
Yeah, I actually enjoyed a lot doing this presentation. Like, I was actually very anxious about it because I'm not a very eloquent presenter or anything. But learning about this all the meme search I did. It was really fun, and I'm glad you laughed a bit.
Yeah,